This is The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I finally got it. After my collector's edition order got delayed for a week, I got it. It's here now. I can play the game. This game is very important, extremely important. One of the most important games of this year, at least for me. Before I start playing, I just want to explain a few things and give my personal thoughts on how I think this game is going to go. So I have a theory. It revolves around this character seen in the latest trailer for the game. A lot of people are saying this is Hylia the goddess. A lot of people say this is Zelda in some sort of transformed state. But I believe this to be an ancestor of Zelda, specifically her grandmother. Actually, editors know a bit of time has passed since I first came to this conclusion, and now I don't really think it's her grandmother anymore. But I'm just gonna read. Listen. I typed up like 3 full pages on this. I'm not just gonna let it go to waste. I'm going to read all of it. So yeah, I'm just gonna read this entire thing. Also, in this theory, I talk about a few different Zelda games, and potential spoilers for those games may pop up. So if you haven't finished any of these games, you might want to skip this part. But before you do, if you haven't played Breath of the Wild and you're here watching a video about the sequel, why? Go play Breath of the Wild. I mean, do what you want, really, but you should probably play Breath of the Wild first before watching this. Just a suggestion. Okay, if this game really does revolve around time travel, like I've seen a lot of people think it does, and based on Zelda's last line in the latest trailer,
"You must find me."
I believe Zelda went back in time to not only the time of the Zonai, but a time where her grandmother was alive. Zelda's in an area that appears to be just out in the open, so I can't see Link having a hard time finding her unless she time traveled. Side note, I don't think we have any evidence of Zelda's grandmother actually being dead or not, but given circumstances of how Breath of the Wild went, I think it's very, very likely that she is not with us anymore at this point. Breath of the Wild gives us an in-depth look at Zelda's family, including her father, King Rome, her mother, the Queen of Hyrule, and her grandmother, who is only briefly mentioned once in the Breath of the Wild memory, Slumbering Power. Zelda alludes to her while praying at the Spring of Power, saying she heard the voices from the spirit realm. The figure seen in the trailer notably has darker skin than Zelda, more on the verge of the king's skin color, with strange markings across her body similar to the ones seen around Link's new arm upgrade. She may even have a connection to the mysterious Zonai. Looking closer at this figure, she does indeed bear a striking resemblance to Zelda herself, mainly given her green eyes and blonde hair. She even wears the same outfit Zelda wears in the trailer as well. And because of that, it's very, very possible this is just Zelda, but in some transformed state. And this whole idea is just completely wrong, but let's just ignore that and pretend I'm right. Immediately after the scene she appears in, a person, which is assumed to be her, uses a beam of light to blast away a horde of Molduga in the desert. This beam of light is similar to Zelda's signature sealing power in Breath of the Wild. The thing with this though, the beam appears to outright kill all these Molduga. Zelda's sealing power in Breath of the Wild is mainly described as being able to seal away Calamity Ganon. We even see this for ourselves at the end of the game, where Ganon is engulfed in a giant ball of light. And if you know how seals work in Zelda games, you know that they don't last forever. This undoubtedly means that sealing will wear off eventually, which may be connected to Ganondorf's awakening in Tears of the Kingdom. Given that this new figure doesn't seem to seal, but rather attack, This may be a stronger form of Zelda's magic, possibly learned by her grandmother. Seeing how these are Molduga and not Ganon, or even guardians being controlled by Ganon, makes me even more suspicious. Perhaps Zelda's grandmother had some sort of advanced sacred magic that neither her daughter, the Queen of Hyrule, or Zelda ever inherited. And I honestly think it's just kind of weird to allude to a character connected to such an important one, such as Zelda, and never go into further detail with them. We've at least seen part of Zelda's mother thanks to a memory in Age of Calamity. You can briefly see the lower half of her body. If you look really closely, her hands have the same complexion as Princess Zelda. So the mysterious figure in Tears of the Kingdom shouldn't be her, as she has a darker complexion. Now that I think about it, she reminds me a lot of Tetra from The Wind Waker. Before she was revealed to be Princess Zelda herself, her appearance consisted of blonde hair with a darker skin tone, which honestly could have just been a tan, because she's a pirate on the ocean all the time under the sun. I don't know. In addition, Tetra is recognized in the game The Spirit Tracks as the ancestor to that game's Princess Zelda, who looks exactly like Tetra Zelda, but is different. Zelda's grandmother has never been seen in memories, and given that Zelda recalls her hearing voices from the spirit realm, I'm guessing Zelda was old enough to remember her at some point in her life. Even if this isn't her grandmother, it's kind of obvious she has some sort of relation/connection to Zelda. Besides Link himself, Zelda is pretty much known for being blonde across the entire series, except for in Twilight Princess, where they changed her to a brunette, before realizing that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Of course, all of this is just speculation based on things I've observed from previous games. Okay, it may have sounded like I was done, but one more thing, I promise. This is kind of unrelated to everything I just said, but I gotta talk about the tiers. The actual tiers of the kingdom. Each of the main characters has a different tier in some sort of capacity. Ganondorf appears to have a red colored tier on his forehead. Zelda is seen with a golden colored tier around her neck. Zelda's grandmother also has a golden tier, in the same place Zelda has hers. Finally, Link appears to be collecting green tiers over the course of the game in this little container thing. And that brings me to my next point. Remember Skyward Sword? Well, you do the exact same thing in that game. When Link must complete the Silent Realms in order to achieve spiritual growth, he must collect 15 tiers in order to receive a blessing from the goddess. These tiers are found in 3 different Silent Realms, each named after their respective goddess: Farore, Nehru, and Din. The tiers in the Farore Silent Realm are colored green, the ones in Nehru's Silent Realm are colored yellow, and the ones in Din's Silent Realm are red. Now, this ties back into the Triforce itself. If you know, the Triforce often splits into 3 parts, with each part going to the person who carries each piece's specific virtue the most. Ganondorf, who believes in power, receives the Triforce of Power. Zelda, who displays divine wisdom, receives the Triforce of Wisdom. And Link, who shows unwavering courage, gets the Triforce of Courage. Each of the goddesses is also affiliated with a specific Triforce piece, with Farore on Courage, Nehru on Wisdom, and Din on Power. Now, look closely at the tiers everyone has in the latest trailer. You see where I'm going with this, right? Zelda's tier is the same color as the tiers found in Nehru's Silent Realm. The same is true for Ganondorf and Din's realm, and Link and Farore's. And the weird thing that Link holds his tiers in, if that's what they are, again, I don't know, looks very similar to the Spirit Vessel, which held the tiers you got in Skyward Sword. And the color Link's crazy new armaments is also green, the color of Farore's tiers. The tiers themselves in this game look exactly the same as the ones in Skyward Sword. Look at them side by side. Do I need to keep going? This game has some huge connection to Skyward Sword. So that's my little theory I crafted up for this game. I feel like that I'm wrong about the whole grandmother thing, but it's fun to speculate and try to guess the game before you play it. So there you go. Okay, this is the final thing. This is really the final thing. See this? This is Catherine. You might recognize her from like all of my thumbnails, mainly in the form of an Octoling in my Splatoon videos. This is pretty much an OC I created a few years ago, and recently I just decided, hey, why don't I give her like the backstory and stuff? And so I did. I've already made a whole backstory and lore for her, where I basically inserted her into the Legend of Zelda universe. A lot of this backstory is based on theories from Breath of the Wild involving the Zonai and all their mysteriousness. So as of now, the story I've made up probably doesn't make any sense. I'm hoping this game answers some of the questions I had so I can make changes if necessary to the story, so it makes sense, and eventually I will reveal it for the world to see. And since I know literally nothing about this game, there might not be thumbnail art for every part of this, just because I want to tell like a logical story with them based off the game story. So I don't really know how I'm gonna do that yet, but I'll figure it out somehow, I guess. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say for real this time. If you've gotten this far into this, thank you for listening to all of my words, my big words I had to say, and oh yeah, I'm probably not gonna read comments as well. Just this is an extra little precaution, so I won't get spoiled on anything. Okay, that's it. Okay, enjoy my Tears of the Kingdom experience. Goodbye.